Okay, resources recap, what we've just read. Resources, the skills, attitudes, aptitudes, emotions, and knowledge we have that help us accomplish what we want. To make use of our resources, we first have to label them. Submodalities, the language of the brain, our most basic resources as represented by the finer distinctions of our sensory systems, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and the other two that we don't talk about very much, smell and gustatory. Anchoring, deliberate creation of a stimulus response connection, learning to condition your own response by establishing a specific stimulus that will elicit a desired resource. Being able to do this means you have your resource under control to access where and when you want it or need it. Self-anchoring and future conditioning. Techniques that give you more access to your resources and increase your choices and control in a range of situations. Physiology, a resource that can instantly transform your outlook. Learn to give yourself an instant body lift and send out a cheerful message to yourself and others. And now follows a story called Sumland.
Long ago, in the vast, no, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bill, if you want to read it, we can take turns.
I can read it. I can try, but there will be perhaps words you can help me.
Yes.
So, Sumland. Long ago, in the vast reaches of space, a planet was born. She had one large land mass surrounded by oceans. Her name was Sumland. Sumland was beset by terrible troubles, both internal and external. She was inhabited by fierce, what is this?
Fierce warring.
Fierce warring tribes. She suffered earthquakes, hurricanes, and erupting volcanoes that kept reshaping her geography. Sumland's image, as reflected in the heavenly mirror of her own atmosphere, was constantly shifting. She'd get used to one image and then it changed to another. This was very upsetting. She didn't know who she was. Her external problems included meteorites, which kept crashing into each other and falling onto the planet, ruining still more of Sumland's features. Not to mention the problems she had with the 3 moons that orbited her and the 2 suns around which she orbited. The 3 moons kept influencing her tides, pushing and pulling in various directions and causing great floods, tidal waves, and giant whirlpools. Her orbit around the 2 suns was in the shape of a figure 8, so that at night she was frozen by the cold and by day she was burned by the heat. Her experience was of chaos and unpredictability. Only one thing was certain: survival was an endless struggle. Sumland felt despair. She felt as though she could not endure since she didn't have the strength to withstand the terrible stress, the pushing and pulling. Now remember, planets are lonely bodies. They cannot meet each other and learn from each other, nor can they just lie down and die. What was Sumland to do? In her desperation, she turned inward. Instead of studying herself in the mirror of her atmosphere, She looked at herself in a way she had never done before. She saw familiar parts, such as layers of earth and stone, underground wells, streams and rivers, caves, the roots of vegetables, and unfamiliar parts, such as layers of black coal, reservoirs of slow-flowing oil, streaks of gold and silver, gemstones shining, and beneath all this, a heavy, stable area that could not be moved, pushed, or pulled even by the fiercest storm. It was a powerful magnet and source of energy.